Happy Sunday, and welcome back to our first Pride episode of the year of Southern Gospel Sissy. I'm Justin Ryan. You know, this week feels different because we recently got back from a trip to California, and it wasn't just a trip. It felt like walking through the physical geography of a movement. The streets, the churches, the coastline, where something that would later be called contemporary Christian music first took shape.
Hi, my name is Ray Bolts. When I was 19, I went to a concert that changed my life. And it introduced me to a brand new type of music that I'd never heard before called contemporary Christian music. And I fell in love with artists like Barry McGuire, Brandy Stonehill, Larry Norman, Phil Keaggy, Second Chapter of Acts, Keith Green, Chuck Girard, New Song, all these incredible artists. And back then, I kind of feel old saying this, but we didn't have the internet. We didn't even really have Christian radio stations. I mean, we had ones that maybe had preaching, but none that really focused on the music. And for a song to really make it back then, to have an impact, you had to tell somebody about it. And that's just what happened with the song called For Those Tears I Died. That song by Marsha Stevens touched people all over the world. And because of that, she's been called a pioneer of gospel music. And I agree with that. But she's really more than just a pioneer. She's an enduring pioneer. For 40 years, Balm Ministries has made a difference in the lives of the LGBTQ plus community. And I just want to take this time today to say thank you, Marsha Stevens. I'm a life that was changed.
The story begins long before there was an industry called contemporary Christian music, long before the charts, the conferences, the radio stations, and the culture wars. It begins in Southern California with 4 young people searching for something real. Recently, a journey through California retraced many of the places where that story began. The small music store where Marsha bought her first guitar, the modest homes where she grew up, Calvary Chapel in Costa Mesa, where a spiritual awakening was unfolding among young people in the late 1960s and early 1970s, the Bay where she was baptized, even the grave of Lonnie Frisbee, one of the most influential and complicated voices of the early Jesus movement, and another LGBTQ figure whose life left a profound mark on that era. Together, those places form a map of the beginnings of a movement that would eventually shape generations of Christian music and ministry.
So if I can find my way around a town that looks all new to me, I'm going to find the folk music store, which is where I bought my very first guitar, and the first people that taught me how to play 4 chords on it. See why it was hard to describe? It's not really a guitar store. It really is folk music. This is just where you came to learn how to play it and learn how to sing it. You know, we all sit around and played a million instruments and jammed in the back, and when something broke, you guys fixed it.
So you were hanging out down at First Street.
Yep, we were. That's why when I got out here, I thought, okay, nothing looks familiar. But it was like this, though. It was just a hangout. We were all, everybody was cool, you know. And just like now, you let us fidget with all the little things. How do you play this? And how does it sound? And, you know, I almost bought an auto harp. You know, all these different, I don't know, happy memories of the place. It was really fun.
In the summer of 1969, Marsha Carter, later known as Marsha Stevens-Pino, became the first of the future members of Children of the Day to experience a radical spiritual transformation. Her early high school years had been marked by loneliness, searching, experimentation, spiritualism, and drugs.
And the song that we're going to do for you is one that the Lord gave to me about 2 weeks after I accepted Him. We all turned 2 just this summer, 2 years old in Jesus. And when I sat down to try and write this song, it was because I was really frustrated. So many new things had happened to me, and I wanted so badly to share them. But it wasn't like before when I'd wanted to share my dope and when I'd wanted to share my philosophies and, you know, all the little trips that I had. People listened to those because they were kind of fun to listen to. But when I wanted to talk about Jesus, it was a completely different thing, and they didn't. Either they just said, yeah, she's on another trip, don't worry about it. Or else they said, oh, I don't need it. That's for you. It's your thing. And so I really wanted really badly to be able to share what had happened. And I sat down one day and just prayed for a way to be able to tell people, just say, this really did happen. And I didn't want to shove it down your throat. I just wanted to let you know it really happened. And the Lord gave us this song.
But something changed because the Lord opened my ear and I was not rebellious. Isaiah 55.
There was lots of parking, and this was a big, especially after my friends started going to church at Calvary Chapel with me. We all met here, and there might be 9 cars just stacked up everywhere so that we could all ride together to church. The room with the balcony on it was my room, so that I could climb out right there down those rocks. But it was the place where my friends and I would sit around with guitars. There's a beautiful fireplace, see the chimney, and we'd have actual bonfires in the fireplace and sit around with guitars and sing.
Marsha attempted to share her newfound faith with her younger sister, Wendy. But Wendy did not feel the same emptiness Marsha had experienced. She seemed happy, grounded, stable. So instead of arguing theology, Marsha wrote a song. That song was For Those Tears I Died. And when Wendy heard it, something shifted. The song revealed something words could not. Within a week, Wendy also became a Christian. Because is not my word like fire, and like a hammer that breaks the rock in pieces? Jeremiah 23:29.
Audrey and I were talking about Pilgrim Pines. By the next year, she calls me up and says, "Are you going to the Pines?" Of course, you had to get permission from everybody to use the phone because it costs so much. And she said, "Something really, really important to tell you when we get there." And I said, "I have something really important to tell you too." And she said, "And there's this song that I heard that I know you're going to really like."
Oh,
She sang the chorus of For Those Tears I Died. I'm like, what? She goes, "Oh my God, hang on." So we got to the Pines, her singing along with me, singing For Those Tears I Died. And
that's amazing.
And the Pines picked it up. It was in the songbook by the very next summer. They had it in their songbook. And it was like one of those things that I look back on with a lot of warmth.
The first time I heard For Those Tears I Died, of course, was at Ann Roberts' house. And it was so nice that she lived only a few houses away. She was my PE teacher. And then when she moved around the corner, I babysat her sons. So I just became part of the family. And you had become a Christian, but I hadn't. And you were witnessing to everybody. I thought that was pretty embarrassing. So I'm sitting over at Ann's house, and you come over with nylon string guitar and bare feet. And they're like, "The Lord gave me a song. The Lord gave me a song." I was just like, "Okay, great." And you started singing, and we both started crying, and just, broke the barriers. And that was the first time I heard For Those Tears I Died.
What I thought though is that, I wasn't thinking, my thinking wasn't, Wendy's not saved and I need to get her saved. What I wanted was for you to get it.
Yeah.
I just wanted you to understand.
Yeah.
Because, later on we used words for, I was born again, I accepted the Lord, I was filled with the Holy Spirit, whatever. But at the time it was just, no. You have to get this. You have to understand. This is forever. This is not like the Ouija board. This is not like Siddhartha. This is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
That was my big thing, was singing it for you and Anna's. Like, okay, they got it.
And Jesus said, "Come to the water, stand by my side. I know you are thirsty, you won't be denied. I felt every teardrop when in darkness you cried, and I strove to remind you that for
Soon afterward came Peter Jacobs, a jazz musician carrying struggles beneath an outwardly carefree personality. Then Russ Stevens, part of Peter's musical circle. Both were introduced to the growing spiritual community at Calvary Chapel. What drew them in was not performance or institution. It was love, community, presence. Words like fellowship and the love of Christ had once seemed foreign to all of them. But when they entered that environment, they immediately understood.
The prayer room, we used to all be able to volunteer to just stay up 24 hours a day. You could call anytime, day or night, ask for prayer, and there were men and women in the prayer room 24 hours a day.
And where are we?
We're at Calvary Chapel, the main sanctuary after Calvary Chapel rebuilt Big Calvary, or Calvary Chapel Costa Mesa, even though it's actually in Santa Ana. It's Calvary Chapel Costa Mesa.
Got it.
The main sanctuary entrance says it's up here. I don't know if we'll be able to get in. Because there's school going on, we may not be able to enter the chapel from this side. Looks like there's people practicing some guitar on the other side, so we might be able to get in there. There were a lot of planters out here that we used to sit around, but they figured out that people like to sit in regular chairs. Sunday school classes were right across here. Don't know which door might be open. I noticed that there's not pews. Pews were a thing. Nope. There never was shag carpet in this one. It was the
old one.
little one that we met in, that the shag carpeting was going to get torn out because people tried to keep us out. But the staging, I mean, look, there's like row A, row B, row D. That's just like so freaky to me. Calvary Chapel, it's my church. You can just go sit in your pew next to somebody you know. And they did an indoor baptism. Not out at 19th Street Bay, not out at Pirates Cove. That's where we sang from. For many years, well, after the tent, for many years.
Is that where that picture is of y'all with the tambourine?
Yeah. So fancy. Baffle plates on the drums, and I don't want to step on in their water from the baptism. Sound, wow, look at the soundboard. Very nice.
I wonder if they sang footed
Well,
at the baptism.
At the baptism. Yeah. They probably, have paid someone to write their own song for their own baptism by now. But I love the water. See the waves?
Mm-hmm.
So cool. Lights, action, camera, my goodness. Backstage is the same. All of our equipment out here. We just huddle around here to pray. All the guitars and stuff are lined up here. There's probably a lounge there that they don't want us to disturb, but...
Calvary Chapel in Costa Mesa had become one of the epicenters of the early Jesus movement. Young people filled the sanctuary. Barefoot converts sat beside longtime church members. Music replaced formality. Authenticity replaced performance. Because in him was life, and the life was the light of all people.
Praise ye the Lord.
The four young musicians naturally attempted to form a group. At first, nothing happened. No momentum, no clear direction. Only later would they realize the timing mattered. Because unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. Psalm 127:1. What they could not force into existence eventually formed naturally. With only $900, the group entered a recording studio with Buck Herring and recorded Come to the Waters. The album would become historically significant. Many historians now recognize it as the first group album in contemporary Christian music history, predating Love Song's landmark debut by nearly a year. Before there was a Christian music industry, children of the day had already begun shaping one.
The Jesus movement is no longer a California fad. It's a song-singing, hand-clapping, full-fledged, old-fashioned revival that's sweeping the country.
It was quite a thing. I mean, the Jesus movement made the cover of Time magazine.
I'm so glad you decided to turn your life over to Jesus. I'm so glad you decided to let him in.
All about it now.
So we're there, we're praying, and I'm just like, following along. And a guy turns toward me and says, "Are you ready to take that step?" And I'm like, "Yes." And Marsha's going, "Tell her about the Holy Spirit. Tell her about the Holy Spirit." and so he led me in prayer, and I think his name was Greg. He was the guy that had the silver teeth.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And I prayed to accept Christ, and then he said the Holy Spirit, so I prayed to be baptized in the Holy Spirit. And I just felt like a sponge, a dry sponge, soaking up peace. And Pete said, "Well, I'm going to watch her for a week. If she seems like her life has changed, then I'll accept Christ next week." So that's what happened.
Sometimes people have said things to me, not trying to be unkind, but like, "Well, and we're continually being born again." And I'm like, I think that's true. But really, for sure, nothing in my life was ever the same. Not one.
Absolutely.
Never thought about, I'm not going to do this. Never thought about, maybe there's no God. Maybe thought about, maybe Jesus doesn't love me.
Yeah.
Totally thought I disappointed Jesus. Totally feel like I didn't, after all these years, I'd be better at being a Christian. I get frustrated with myself, with my own sensitivities and impatiences and stuff. So when I said I was saved, I meant, you saved my life. You saved my tears. You saved my heart. You saved my sister. You saved, from despair. I didn't feel like, well, you were going to kill me, but then you died instead, and so I'm good.
No.
Like, I meant it when I said it.
The group, Marsha, Carter, Wendy Carter, Peter Jacobs, and Russ Stevens, formed a harmony-driven folk quartet rooted in testimony and lived experience. The name Children of the Day itself came from one of their songs, because the path of the righteous is like the light of dawn, which shines brighter and brighter until full day. Proverbs 4:18. Their music spread quickly throughout Southern California. Coffee houses, church gatherings, concerts, youth rallies. Soon they were performing alongside many of the defining artists of the Jesus movement era, including Andre Crouch and the Disciples, whose groundbreaking fusion of gospel, soul, and contemporary music was simultaneously reshaping modern gospel music itself.
Then even like with Explo 72, what a disaster. We're just, I don't know, we're such kids.
Yeah. Well, the night before Expo 72 was the night I graduated from high school. And I was 16, and our parents took me to some big fancy dinner party that was going till midnight for the senior class. And I had to leave early so I could go catch a plane to Dallas, yeah. And so I think I got there and I hadn't slept and I hadn't eaten, and I think I actually fainted, right? I fainted behind stage because it was so hot.
We didn't even get backstage at
Yeah.
first.
Yeah. Somehow we didn't have our tags or whatever. So Andre got us in.
Like,
And
we didn't
then-
have our backstage passes, and Andre's like, "Sister, we got it. We got it."
Yeah. And so we're back there, and Andre goes like, Dallas isn't famous for being accepting of all kinds of people. Said, let's go out there and tell him we're engaged. It'll be a crack up. So we're walking around arm in arm, and he's like, we're engaged. And people were just like, okay. It was like they were slightly shocked. And
You don't have to take it. You don't have to make it on your own. You're not alone. Emily, I've loved you all your days.
Children of the Day became part of a rapidly growing cultural and spiritual phenomenon. Then came Explo 72. Held in Dallas, Texas in 1972, Explo 72 gathered tens of thousands of young Christians from around the world and became widely known as the Christian Woodstock. Artists including Johnny Cash, Chris Christopherson, Love Song, Andre Crouch, and the Disciples, and Children of the Day all participated. At the center of the event stood Billy Graham, calling an entire generation toward mission and faith. Explo 72 represented a defining convergence of music, youth culture, and evangelical Christianity. And Children of the Day were there near the center of it.
Right over here is 19th Street Bay. Calvary Chapel had never had a baptism before, but we were up to the book of Acts on a Monday night Bible study where the Ethiopian eunuch said, shouldn't we be baptized? And so Chuck Smith said, who wants to be baptized? And we're all like, dude, totally. Oh. He said, well, next week when you come, bring a change of clothes and we'll go right out here to the 19th Street Bay and baptize you. So we went to church at 7 and we sang for about a half hour and we studied the Bible, and about 9 o'clock at night we came out here to the 19th Street Bay and we all walked out in the sand, and there were probably 12 of us that got baptized that night, and maybe another 20 on the beach. And as we walked out, Chuck said, this is the moment where you make an intentional decision to bury anything you want to let go of right here, anything that you don't think God's going to use, anything that you want to be rid of, you bury it right here in the water and come up fresh and new. And I came up out of the water, and my friends had learned, for those tears I died. So I came up out of the water, and the minute Chuck lifted me up, all my friends on shore started singing, and Jesus said, come to the water. I never heard anybody else sing it. I was so excited. And as I came out, there were like flashbulbs. There were reporters reporting on this church that let hippies go get baptized at night in the 19th Street Bay. So later on, we moved it down a little bit to Pirates Cove, but this was where I got baptized at the very first Calvary Chapel baptism in the ocean.
And helped started the Jesus movement, right?
Well, right. It was July of 1969, so.
Meanwhile, the songs continued spreading, especially one, For Those Tears I Died. Written by a teenage girl searching for language to describe transformation, the song would become one of the defining anthems of the Jesus music era.
You know, when I sang with you that time and we were together ministering, you did a song that I have never forgotten. I've heard other people sing it, but I've never forgotten the way you sang, Come to the Waters. Would you sing that for me? Would you do that?
Sure.
And Jesus says, come to the
because I will sing of steadfast love and justice. Psalm 101, verse 1. As the years progressed, Children of the Day became more than a regional group. Their influence spread beyond church circles. Their harmonies, songwriting, and authenticity drew critical attention even outside religious music communities. And at the center of it all stood Marsha Stevens-Pino. Long before the controversies that would later surround her story, she had already helped establish the foundations of an entirely new musical movement. Eventually, the Encyclopedia of Christian Music would recognize her as the mother of contemporary Christian music, not as an afterthought, as a foundational architect. But the movement that helped create space for her music would later struggle to make space for her life. As Marsha came into a fuller understanding of her identity, tensions emerged within the Christian music world. And before the group's decade-long career ended, Children of the Day became associated with one of the earliest major controversies in contemporary Christian music history. Standing at Lonnie Frisbee's grave, that tension feels impossible to ignore. A movement capable of extraordinary grace and extraordinary exclusion, because one generation shall commend your works to another.
Church for so long has been expecting a certain mold of what a Christian should look like, or what a Christian should be, or what a Christian should say. And God is blowing everybody's mind.
What do you think he would be doing today, though?
I don't know if he would have been side A or side B, but he would have been. Lonnie called it out when he saw it. You know, he wouldn't be intentionally living a double life.
Right.
So if he was side B, he might say I have to be celibate, but Lonnie's gay.
Right. In the story, I wish I'd thought to have brought a rainbow flag, because I would have put it out here. Nothing better to be put out here at the Crystal Cathedral.
But what gets handed down is rarely simple. Yet even in the midst of rejection, the music endured, the calling endured, the faith endured, because the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. John 1:5. Rather than disappearing, Marsha Stevens-Pino continued creating ministry and community. Out of pain came something new, Balm Ministries, a place where LGBTQ Christians and others living on the margins of church life could bring their full selves into community, worship, and music. And for more than 40 years, that ministry has continued shaping lives and creating space for voices often excluded elsewhere. Its roots stretch directly back to those early California days, the homes, the church, the bay, the songs, and the movement that began with 4 young people simply trying to follow God honestly. Because who despises the day of small things? Zechariah 4:10. And for those who want to understand the story more deeply, Marsha Stevens-Pino eventually told it herself in her memoir, available online. A first-hand account of faith, music, rejection, survival, and the creation of a ministry that continues touching lives decades later. For some, this is history, but for others, it is inheritance. For more than 23 years, that legacy has continued through artists, ministries, churches, and voices that found space through Balm when other spaces made no room for them. This Pride Month, the story of Balm Ministries begins here, not with controversy, not with division, but with origins, with songs, with searching, with transformation, with a generation trying to create a new language for faith. And maybe that is what makes this story endure. Before there was an industry, before there were categories, before there were arguments about who belonged, there were simply people searching for light and finding it. Long before the church knew how to speak about people like Marsha Stevens-Pino, it was already singing songs she helped write. And decades later, that light is still reaching people who thought there was no place for them in the story of faith.
When the room is dark and empty and night shadows start to fall, and when the leaves of evening make the writing on your wall, when it gets to be too frightening, shadows are lurking left and right, don't try to drive the darkness out, you just turn on the light. We're the children of the light, and we're the children of the day. We need not always stumble in an ever darker way, though the darkness may close in around with shadows everywhere. Still Jesus Christ Christ is in our hearts, the light of the world is there. When your heart is dark and empty and dim shadows start to fall, when cluttered fears of sin are the writing on your wall, your confusion and your doubts are always lurking left and right, don't try to drive the darkness out, you just turn on the light. We're the children of the light and we're the children of the day. We need not always stumble in an ever darker way, though the darkness may posing around with shadows everywhere. Still Jesus Christ is in our hearts, the light of the world is there. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. I'm so glad you decided to turn your life over to Jesus. I'm so glad you decided to let him in. There's a new look on your face, and there's a new hope in your eyes, and you're smiling now like you never used to smile before. I am so glad you decided to turn your life over to Jesus. I'm so glad you decided to let him in. Oh, it's something you can't explain, but it's for real, all the same. And you know that you could never put it into words. What you feel, it's a new life. It's a new life. Old things have passed away. We know just what you're going through, and we're praying for you that you will always live your life for him. For him. For him. We're the children of the light and we're the children of the day. We need not always stumble in an ever darker way, though the darkness may posing around with shadows everywhere. Still Jesus Christ is in our hearts, the light of the world is there.